Welcome to the Explainer. So, you've got one machine, but you want two powerhouse operating systems on it. Today, we're going to talk about exactly that, how to get the everyday productivity of Windows and the powerful cybersecurity tools of Kali Linux living together on a single laptop.
Yeah, what we're aiming for here is pretty cool. The goal is to give you this awesome flexibility where every time you start up your computer, you get to choose which world you want to jump into. It's really the best of both worlds.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to skip the basics of downloading the files and jump right into the four parts that can really trip people up. First, carving out space on your drive. Second, getting past a really common security error. Then, the key moments during the actual installation. And finally, how to take complete control of your system when you're done. First things first, we need to prepare a home for Kali Linux. And the trick is to do it on your existing Windows hard drive without messing up any of your current files. Okay, pause. Before we even think about clicking a single button, let's really let this sink in. This is a direct quote from our source material, and it's not kidding. Messing with drive partitions is serious stuff. So a full backup of your important data, it's not just a friendly suggestion, it's absolutely essential. So how do we do it? Well, the process is actually pretty simple. Imagine your hard drive is one giant room. All we're doing is going into Windows Disk Management, finding that room, and putting up a new wall. This creates a smaller, completely empty room with the system calls an allocated space, which is the perfect spot for Kali to move in.
All right, so you've made the space. You've got your Kali USB ready to go. And then, bam, you hit a wall. This is the part of the process where a lot of people just stop.
You're going to see an error that looks something like this. And yeah, it looks pretty scary, I know. But don't panic. This is actually your computer's security system doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just saying, hey, I don't recognize this Kali thing, so I'm not letting it run. And this brings us to probably the most important decision you'll make in this whole process. Our source is very, very clear here. To move forward, you have to temporarily turn off a key security feature. You need to understand that this comes with a certain amount of risk.
So what is Secure Boot anyway? The best way to think about it is like a bouncer at a club for your computer's startup. It has a list of trusted software, and if something isn't on the list, it doesn't get in. The risk in disabling it is that you're telling that bouncer to go on break. This opens a small window of opportunity where nasty stuff, like rootkits, could potentially infect your machine before your main OS even loads. It's a calculated risk you have to take for this installation.
So, how do we get past the bouncer? Well, you got to go talk to the manager. In this case, that means rebooting your computer and jumping into its core settings, which we call the BIOS or UEFI. Once you're in there, you just find the security section, turn Secure Boot off, save your changes, and you're good to go.
Okay, the bouncer's on a break, and now the Kali installer will finally load up. Most of the setup process is just clicking Next, but there are a couple of choices you really need to pay attention to.
The two big ones are right here. First, when it asks where you want to install Kali, you're going to tell it to use the largest continuous free space. That's the empty room we made earlier. Easy. Second, and you do not want to skip this, make sure you select a desktop environment. This is what gives you the graphical interface, with icons and windows and a mouse pointer. If you forget to check this box, you'll boot up to a black screen with just a blinking cursor, which is probably not what you had in mind. And success. Once everything's installed and you reboot your computer, you should be greeted by this. This little menu is the bootloader, and seeing it means you did it. You now have a choice every time you start your computer. You can load into Kali Linux, or you can boot into Windows. But hang on a second. What if you reboot and it just goes straight into Windows? You don't see that cool menu at all. It's a super common issue, but thankfully the fix is really, really simple. If this happens, don't worry. Your Kali installation isn't gone. It's still there. All that's happened is that your computer's priority list is still set to load Windows first by default. It just kind of forgot to ask you which one you wanted to use. This solution takes us right back to the BIOS. You just have to go back in, find the section for boot order, and you'll see a list. All you do is move the Kali Linux boot manager to the very top, making it priority number 1. And here's the really cool part. This isn't a one-way street. If you ever decide you want your computer to just boot straight into Windows again, you follow these exact same steps and just move the Windows boot manager back to the top. And that's the key right there. You are in complete control. You can change this setting whenever you want. You can have it ask you every time by putting Kali first, or you can have it boot directly into Windows by putting Windows first. It's totally up to you.
So let's just quickly recap the big 3 things to remember from all this. Number 1, back up your data. Seriously. Number 2, disabling Secure Boot is a necessary but temporary risk you have to take. And number 3, you are always in the driver's seat. The BIOS boot order gives you final say over how your computer starts up.
So there you have it. You've basically given your computer a split personality in the best way possible. You've opened up a whole new world of incredibly powerful networking and security tools that live right alongside your normal Windows setup. The only question left is, now that you have all this new capability at your fingertips, what's the first thing you're going to explore?